Welcome to Dom's Corner, everybody. I'm your host, Dom Martino, as always. And if you like the content here, please hit that like button below. Excuse me. Subscribe to the channel. Leave some feedback in the comments section. I appreciate that very much. And also, I'll be leaving my social media information in the description below. So be sure to follow me there. So first things first, let's get to my kind of apology for not being able to do a show for a little bit here. That's totally on me, and I am very sorry about that. It's definitely been because of me on some level. On Saturday, we were supposed to have a show, and the reason I didn't do that is because I figured it would have been best to wait on DC Fandome so we can have news, and I was going to go over all that with everybody on Sunday. And even before that, we were supposed to have a show on Wednesday, and that did not happen because I was catching up on short form content, trying to get everything going for the channel. And it was probably something I could have done better to prep for, but I didn't. That took some time to catch up on. And so anyway, so that was that, and that wasn't that didn't work out too well, I guess. And ended up at least having a show on that Thursday. And then, anyway, like I said, I was going to do one on Saturday, which was going to be the Kingsman review, and I ended up not being able to get to that all because of DC Fandome. So, there was that. So, unfortunately, I never did report on the stuff from DC Fandome on Sunday, and that was that. And then here we are, yesterday we weren't supposed to have a show, or sorry, yesterday we were supposed to have the show, and that did not come out on schedule. And this one was actually not my fault. That had to do with technical difficulties. So I apologize for that, but there was no control over not having the show yesterday at 5 p.m. So there's my explanation for all that, and I'm very sorry. And I hope that you guys can move on and keep with this show. I don't want to say it just in case, because sometimes you try to do things and things don't work out the way that they probably should. So I don't want to sit here and say that I'll do a third one for everybody this week, although that would be very cool. But I do have some big things planned for hopefully next week, and that should be a lot of fun. And hopefully, if everything goes right, it should make up for all the discrepancies that we've had this week. So just wanted to give my apology. There was a lot of things that I didn't have control over, but sorry, I thought I felt a bug on me, and I was just brushing her off. Anyway, there was a lot of things that I didn't have control over, but here we are, and we're going to talk about all the stuff from DC Fandome. There's a lot to cover, and I'm pretty excited. So let's start here. We had the Wonder Woman 1984, the new trailer, which is pretty cool. I like this trailer actually a lot more than I liked that first trailer that came out for this movie. Lord knows when this movie's coming out, but hopefully very soon. I cannot wait. I think that Chris Pine and Gal Gadot have really good chemistry on screen together. My biggest fear for this movie is that it relies way too much on the comedy aspect of things. And the first film, if you ask me, actually had the perfect balance of humor and serious moments. And this one just kind of feels like it might rely too much on the humor still. So I'm still kind of having that problem with it, which is something that I was scared of when the first trailer had dropped. That said, I think that we're on a much better track now with this, and hopefully it's a much better movie than it looks anyway. It's a very good trailer, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people worried about the CGI aspect with the cheetah at the end, but I think it looks pretty good. I don't think it's too bad. Of course, it could be better. I think that they'll probably finish it, at least with the effects. Like, they'll finish the VFX before releasing this movie. I don't think it's going to look as clunky as it does in the trailer. But then again, who am I to say? Because this movie was already kind of supposed to be out. So there's that, which is kind of sad if you ask me. But this trailer, on the same hand, might have been cut prior to its release. So who knows? Oh boy. I don't know, but that other than that, I think it's gonna turn out pretty well. So, okay. Let's see here. Sorry. Okay, I thought I had a. Never mind. Sorry, ignore me right there. Anyway. So Wonder Woman looks pretty good though, and I did find the humor in this trailer to at least be funny, but I just don't want it to rely on it too much. And that is my biggest worry. But in Patty Jenkins we trust. She's a wonderful director, so I think that whatever she has in mind is probably going to work. I have every right to believe that this movie is going to be phenomenal. I love that first Wonder Woman that she did, and I think she's going to do a wonderful job in this second one here. So, Wonder Woman 1984 opens God knows when, but let's hope for the best when it does come out, huh? All right, so moving on, we are going to talk about The Flash. No trailer for this one. I did watch the panel, and there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. It sounds like it's going to really be based a lot around Flashpoint. Let's start with this. I don't think it's right, and I hate to get into this kind of thing, but I don't think it's right for Ezra Miller to have no punishment for what had happened. And we all know about the video where he choked out a woman, and no punishment, especially when DC has punished for much less, or fired or terminated, however you want to put it, for much less than choking out a woman. So I don't know how I feel about him still being cast in this and not losing his job. And it's not that I root for anybody to lose their job, but it's just, and Ezra Miller's a tremendous actor, and we've seen him play the Flash before. I've rooted for his Flash ever since I saw it in Justice League, because I think he did a good job in that movie. That movie has a lot of problems. I do not think Ezra Miller's performance was one of them. I like his version of Flash. This movie sounds pretty cool. I just was not a fan of seeing him at the panel just being unpunished, or like everything's fine and there's no announcement or anything surrounding what was done. But let's avoid all the drama. It seems like it is happening with Ezra Miller. Now, some of the cool reports that have come out surrounding this film is that, number one, Ben Affleck's going to come back as Batman, which is insanely exciting. His rendition of Batman is my third favorite rendition of Batman as a character. My favorite Batman movie is The Dark Knight, which is funny because Christian Bale is probably my least favorite Batman, and he stars in that film. Michael Keaton is my favorite Batman, and Batman, it's from 1989, is my second favorite Batman movie. But The Dark Knight is just a better movie. Batman v Superman, I don't know if you want to call it a Batman movie or a Superman movie, although Batman is the first name we get in that, but that is lower on my list. However, Ben Affleck is my, second favorite Batman. I think I said third favorite Batman, but my second favorite, because Michael Keaton is first, and then Ben Affleck is second, to me anyway. So I think Ben Affleck is actually my second favorite. Right, he is my second favorite rendition of Batman. So to see him or to hear that he's coming back is actually quite exciting. And I'm very excited to see what happens with the Flash, because it sounds like they're going to dive a lot into the multiverse, which makes a lot of sense. I think DC kind of has been playing with that. I don't watch the shows or that are on CW, but I know when they did their big crossover, that was like Crisis on Infinite Earths. We saw all these, different people from different universes show up, like Ezra Miller's Flash, for example, showed up in Crisis on Infinite Earths, which he had no connection to prior, but he showed up with Grant Gustin's Flash, and that's two different universes, right? So I like kind of the multiverse thing that they're going to be doing. And Michael Keaton coming back is even bigger. It wasn't necessarily confirmed at DC Fandome, but the fact that he's going to be in this Flash movie from reports, and it's which is pretty much confirmed, is pretty cool. So we're gonna have two Batmans and Ezra Miller's Flash. It sounds like the Ben Affleck Batman is gonna be kind of a fatherly figure to Ezra Miller's Flash. So that'll be interesting. We're probably gonna get a lot of stuff that we did not see in Justice League. Now, one of the things that makes me nervous about this Flash film, though, is Andy Muschietti's direction, because I've seen two of his movies, and he's kind of hitting at a 50% right now with me, because the first It was phenomenal. I mean, that is a phenomenal movie. The second It movie was not good, and that is one of the situations where I'm going to blame the director, because you could tell that he was able to do a lot of the things that he wanted to do with it. It was a 3-hour movie. There was no sense of the movie getting cut into, but it just felt like he could not balance everything. I know there are people that are fans of It Chapter 2. Not me. I'm not a fan of It Chapter 2. I think that movie was way too long, or much longer than it needed to be. And by the end of it, you're just like, I don't feel payoff for what, because the rest of it was just so convoluted. You're just like, I don't really feel a lot of payoff for what was in Chapter 1. I mean, you do, but you really don't. Like, it didn't feel as complete as maybe it could have. So there's that. So Muschietti's, he's batting at a 50% average, I guess, at this point. So I'm nervous about the fact that he's doing this Flash movie, but I'm really hoping that it's good and solid. And he might do well with the Flash character. A lot of these horror directors have come in and just knock these comic book films out of the park. So really hoping for the best with that. But the concepts all sound pretty cool to me, and I'm looking forward to it. So, that is what it is. Moving on, we do have a couple video games I wanted to touch on too that are coming out from DC. We had Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League is intriguing to me. Now, this trailer was more like a featurette. We didn't really get to see a lot of gameplay out of it. So, because of that, I'm more excited for Gotham Knights, because Gotham Knights showed a lot more gameplay, and it looks really cool. Looks pretty similar to what we'd gotten in the Arkham games. But this one just kind of showed a clip, and I think the clip is actually very intriguing. It shows some, the Suicide Squad, and we're talking about, and then we see Superman, who's kind of taken on what looks like an evil form. I don't really know if there's any source material they're basing this off of, but it was interesting to see Superman in the form that we'd seen him, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So, but Gotham Knights looks insane. You got this really cool ensemble of characters that you get to play as, and Bruce Wayne is dead at this point. Looks or sounds like her. That's what I took from it. If anybody else took that differently, let me know. But it sounds like Bruce Wayne might be dead. So, it could be pretty cool. Really cool, interesting story. I like a lot of the stuff that DC's doing right now. I mean, if you listen to Walter Hamada talking, he seems like he loves this stuff, and he really knows the direction he wants to take this stuff, and it sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. I don't know if the multiverse is going to go over well with everybody, but I think a lot of hardcore fans are going to really appreciate this. It's kind of different from Marvel because Marvel's all just kind of one universe, one canon. Excuse me. At least when I'm talking about the MCU or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you will, it's all one universe, one canon. And then DC is kind of canonical. It's all canonical, maybe, but it's all in different universes. So that's interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on, though, speaking of the Suicide Squad, we did have the Suicide Squad featurette also debut at DC Fandome, and I don't know if I should call it Fandom or Fandome. It's spelled Fandome, but so we'll call it that, I guess. So DC Fandome also had the Suicide Squad trailer or featurette trailer type thing, which I don't really know how to explain, but pretty cool. I actually enjoyed it. It was kind of long and it was a lengthy featurette, and it kind of dove into that concept of this time it's James Gunn's Suicide Squad, which I enjoy because it was like David Ayer when he did his Suicide Squad movie. He didn't really get like a lot of justice done with it, right? Because he got his movie cut by a music video company, and that's what he's come out and admitted since. So it's nice to see. Well, this time we're going to let the director, make his movie, and it's going to be a clear vision and straightforward. And I really enjoyed that. This is a pretty packed cast. I don't think a lot of these characters are going to live in this one. Personally, I think that's the only way you can have a cast that's so packed. But I'm interested to see what James Gunn does with all these different characters that are in the movie. And I think that it's going to be a good sequel to Suicide Squad. It'll serve its way further into these characters. I really like seeing the development of Harley Quinn, too, throughout Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey. And I'm interested to see where that lands her here, depending on where this one takes place. I think they might have mentioned it, but I can't remember if it's before Birds of Prey or after Birds of Prey. It's definitely after Suicide Squad, David Ayer's Suicide Squad. This is James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, right? So I don't know, but I don't know where Birds of Prey is going to fall in this one. I always wonder too. I don't know if it'll happen, but will this lead into a Birds of Prey sequel or another Suicide Squad movie? Or the Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad going to become one thing? Will the Birds of Prey make an appearance in this one? That'll be interesting. We're also probably all interested to see what if Jared Leto's Joker comes back, I know it's been sounding like he won't, but come on, we got Ben Affleck coming back. It's been reported Henry Cavill's coming back, so all these people that said they wouldn't come back to the DCEU are coming back to the DCEU. So it'll be interesting to see. I think that it's probably good. I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up seeing, well, we'll get into that in a bit. But anyway, what do you guys think of the Suicide Squad featurette? I thought it looked pretty cool. Looks like it's going to be a very funny movie mixed with a lot of the grittier action. And that's all we really need from a Suicide Squad movie. And I think this one is confirmed that it would be R-rated. I think that's been mentioned. I don't know if it was at the DC Fandome, but it's been mentioned somewhere that I think that this one will be an R-rated Suicide Squad, which is really what we need. Which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen the animated flick Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, I definitely recommend checking that out. That's a lot of fun. It's an R-rated animated Suicide Squad film, so I definitely recommend checking that out. Pretty cool. So moving on, we do have the... let's go into the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut is coming out finally, and I'm so happy about this. I mean, we knew this was coming out a little bit ago, but now we just got this big trailer for it, right? This is the official trailer for Zack Snyder's Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'll give you my history with Zack Snyder here. With me and Zack Snyder, it's been like Dawn of the Dead, the remake. I enjoyed that. But not to the level that like a lot of people did. Like, I was still always a fan of the original Dawn of the Dead more, but I actually found the remake to be enjoyable, and I was happy it wasn't the same exact thing as the original Dawn of the Dead, and it's actually a really enjoyable remake. I mean, they kept kind of the mall setting in there, which was in the original Dawn of the Dead, but for the most part, it was its own thing, and I was pretty thrilled about that. So that that movie's good, but not great. And then it was really 300 where I started to recognize Zack Snyder as a talent, where he started to bring in his own style to it, right? Because 300 is nothing but incredible medieval style action, right? Not medieval. I'm sorry. It's really about the Spartans. There's like a medieval feel to it, but it's the Spartans, right? Which is like real stuff. So that's the thing with 300, right? You got it's a real kind of gritty old style action film that also kind of acts as this period piece, which is pretty cool. And that was really where I saw Zack Snyder's talent, as I'm sure a lot of us did. And then Watchmen, the extended cut, came out, and it just did justice to what the graphic novel was. It was adapted from the graphic novel, and that was incredible. I think I mentioned the extended cut because the extended cut is the one I love. Well, there's like the extended cut, and then there's like the ultimate cut, which the ultimate cut of Watchmen is incredible. And that was a comic book film and a DC film, and it really did show that this guy, he could really make a damn good comic book film. And I think everybody wanted to see what that guy did after that. I think he did that Sucker Punch movie too, which I never saw, but okay. I've heard it wasn't good, which fine. Then comes Man of Steel, which is like his big follow up to Watchmen, in my opinion, because it's like the next comic book film that he's doing, and very mixed reactions. I think there's one side of the fan base that was like, okay, this is a Zack Snyder film, and then there's the other side that's like, this is a Superman film, right? So they're just like they're just judging on, how it is as a follow up to the original Superman films. And then there's some of the comic book fans too that are like either gonna love it or hate it, just depending on which iterations of Superman that they enjoy. For me, it was the Zack Snyder film, so I loved Man of Steel, and I think that he really did a fantastic job on that movie, and I think it is one of the best DC films ever, and it's definitely up there with the best Superman films ever. I mean, Superman 2, the Donner cut. I like the Donner cut of Superman 2. I'm sorry, so Superman the movie, because there's never really been a movie called Superman. Which, by the way, if J.J. Abrams does a Superman movie, I hope it stars Henry Cavill, and I hope it's the first one that is actually called Superman. I think that would be pretty cool. But moving on from that, so I think it's going to be. I think that the. Oh, I'm sorry. We were talking about Man of Steel, right? So Man of Steel is like, it's up at the top 3 Superman films in my opinion, and it's fantastic. And I had a really good time with that film, and I think Henry Cavill is really cool. And I think he really understood something with the character of Superman that Christopher Reeve didn't, or any of the other actors that tried playing him. Right? No offense to Christopher Reeve. I think he did justice to the character just fine. I just think that there was something about within the performance that Henry Cavill understands about Superman that a lot of other actors didn't. And one of the things about Superman is he's really invincible, and these movies never really have stakes. Well, Man of Steel did. So I just really feel like Man of Steel was probably, well, I don't want to say the best. It's amongst the best. It's probably my second favorite Superman movie, up there. I think Superman the movie is my favorite, but then Man of Steel right under. So we'll say that. Then Zack Snyder followed up that with Batman v Superman, which is the shot heard around the world, right? That movie comes out and you got people screaming at each other. I'm so sorry. There's a bug right there. You got people screaming at each other, because there's half the fan base that loves that movie, half the fan base that hates it, and it's just a divided mess amongst the DC fans because of where Batman v Superman ended up going. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, Superman gets killed at the end, which is one of the things I actually liked about it, although we all knew he was coming back, come on. But at least, like, it fooled you for a second that Superman was actually dead. Or maybe it didn't fool you, I don't know, but for me it did. And they actually had a funeral for Clark Kent, and I thought that was a really interesting take. Um, so then there was that, and then to follow that up, it was supposed to be the Justice League. Well, Zack Snyder. So, by the way, my opinion on Batman v Superman is, theatrical cut is very good, but it needs a lot of work. And then when they did the extended cut, it was just like great because they restructured it better, and that the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman, it just felt like Zack Snyder's full blown vision. And when I saw that come to fruition, I was like, I wasn't as soured by Batman v Superman, but I really like that movie now, and I enjoy it a lot. So, excuse me, pardon me. So I think that helped too, because a lot of people saw that ultimate cut of Batman v Superman, and it seemed like people really started coming around on Zack Snyder's movies, right? All of a sudden, especially once they saw Justice League, which wasn't very good. Now, the problem with Justice League and what really happened was Zack Snyder obviously went to go film his Justice League movie to wrap up everything that he was doing, and his family suffered tragedy. So when he had left the project, it turned out that Warner Brothers had, well, they kind of flipped the script, right? They flipped the narrative to make it sound like we're going to bring in Joss Whedon to help out with this film. So since Zack Snyder is taking a leave, and he's going to finish Zack Snyder's film. Well, what really ended up happening was, Zack Snyder had finished everything he wanted to shoot, but they had Zack Snyder reshoot stuff, recut stuff, and make this film an entirely different film than what Zack Snyder had originally planned, which was a big betrayal on the part of Warner Brothers at the time and DC, which luckily now has better leadership. And like I said earlier, they did the same thing with David Ayer. They had a music video company come in and recut his movie, and that's why we're not getting great DC films. So I'm feeling good about the future with DC, and we've kind of already seen that come to fruition a little bit. Like it's gotten better ever since Walter Hamada stepped in for the leadership. Anyway, so finally, now that we have new leadership and all the fans have been campaigning and Zack Snyder's been teasing that maybe there's a cut of his movie that did exist, we are finally going to get the Snyder Cut in 2021. And let me tell you, this trailer was like a breath of fresh air for the Snyder Cut of Justice League. It looks like a much better movie. It looks like we're going to get... By the way, the look for Steppenwolf looks much better than it did in the last movie, and I hope we get more development on him. Looks like we're going to get more development on Cyborg, which is Ray Fisher's character. So we're going to get more development there, looks like, anyway, and I'm excited about that. So, yeah, we got a lot of great stuff. Now, I know that there was a lot of scenes that, were in the original film, and they were kind of extended, right? That's just kind of how it felt. Like they were extended cuts or alternate cuts of scenes that were in the original film. Well, for people that are complaining about that, that's just because there's a lot of people that still aren't. Most people do, or within the fan base, but you got to understand there's a lot of people that still don't understand exactly what the Snyder Cut is, and so that way they could show, oh, this is the movie you've seen. It's just going to be a longer cut of it. That's what Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to be. So I'm very excited for Zack Snyder to get justice and make his movie the way that he wanted to, and I have a really good feeling about it, but I hope I am right. I really don't. I do not want to be wrong about this. I have a great feeling, especially after watching this trailer, that Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to be the shit. I really think it is, and I'm confident in that. I never felt so much more confident about something. The only thing I really wasn't a fan of in this trailer was the 4:3 aspect ratio. I didn't understand why they put the trailer out that way. I hope to God that is not how the movie is going to air on HBO Max. Well, we shall see. I will try to not let that affect my viewing experience if that is how it gets released on HBO Max. So the Snyder Cut comes out next year on HBO Max, and let's all get stoked. What do you guys think of the Snyder Cut trailer? Let me know in the comments below. So moving on to this story, we did get also at DC Fandome, the Black Adam teaser, which was weird because it was all kind of animated. But we did get to hear Dwayne Johnson talking as Black Adam, so that was very cool. It was all kind of an animated thing, but it was still cool to hear Dwayne Johnson talking as Black Adam. And this guy, he's been talking about doing Black Adam for like 7 years or something. And so I'm happy that Dwayne Johnson finally gets to play this character. And Lord knows when this is going to come out. With everything going on, but I think that it's going to be a very, very cool movie. I don't know a lot about Black Adam, although other than he is the anti-Shazam. And I love the character of Shazam, so I'm excited to see him get like a really cool, very well developed villain in his own standalone movie. At least that's what I've heard about this character. If I'm wrong about this, somebody correct me in the comments. But I was pretty sure that that's what it was going to be, because I remember they were going to release, and they might still do this, guys, which would be very cool, but I remember they were going to release Black Adam and then 2 weeks later release Shazam in theaters. So I thought that was a very cool strategy, and that Black Adam would cross over into Shazam's movie, right? Shazam 2, anyway. So all that was very exciting, and I'm excited about it. And just a quick little thing there. There's really not much else to say about it. It was cool to learn a little bit more about Black Adam finally, and where he came from and all that. And so, anyway, let me know, guys, what you thought of Black Adam down in the comment section. So, our final story, and I think you guys knew that I was going to save this one for last. This is the Batman trailer. Matt Reeves, the Batman. Matt Reeves is directing the Batman, and we finally got a trailer that was cut with 75% or 25%. I'm sorry. Matt Reeves has only been able to shoot 25% of the movie, and we got a trailer cut out of that 25% finally. But by God, this thing looks incredible. I said that Michael Keaton is my favorite Batman, and I have a feeling, and I've never felt so good about somebody playing Batman in my entire life, that Robert Pattinson is going to play the best Batman we have ever seen. This movie looks like everything I love about the Batman character kind of shoved into one about the Batman stories. I also just recently heard that they are adapting The Long Halloween into, which is like one of the best Batman graphic novels out there. They're adapting The Long Halloween into an animated feature, a 2-part animated feature to act as a precursor to the Batman film. That's pretty cool too. So there are a lot of great Batman news kind of surrounding this. Let me say this. So Matt Reeves is a filmmaker. I'll give you kind of my history with him. It's the first big pop, I think, for him was Cloverfield, right? So I didn't see Cloverfield till later. Really kind of a funny story about that is, for the longest time I was like, I don't like Cloverfield. I really dislike Cloverfield. And then I watched Cloverfield when I was older. Turns out I'd never seen Cloverfield. For some reason I was always associating that movie with something else and thinking that the other movie I saw was called Cloverfield. Because there was another very similar movie like it, but Cloverfield is actually very good. But Cloverfield, on the same hands, kind of Matt Reeves is like, he's like the PG-13 guy, right? Both of his Planet of the Apes movies are the PG-13. Cloverfield had the PG-13 rating, and so people are like, how is he going to make this really gritty, what's probably going to be R-rated based on this trailer Batman movie? Well, I would tell everybody to check out Let Me In. It is the American remake of Let the Right One In, but it's all, done through it's all directed by Matt Reeves, and I think he does a really good job when it comes to like some grittiness and brutality. So I would definitely check that out. I think everybody goes to the popular ones when it comes to Matt Reeves, but if you check out Let Me In, it's actually very good. This guy can handle an R-rated gritty movie like no other. I mean, he really could, and that movie proves it. And I think if he does it somewhat in the style of that, this movie's going to be amazing. There were so many moments in this film that reminded me of the Arkham video games, which are like my favorite Batman stories ever, to be honest with you. And I was happy to see some influence from there. Colin Farrell as the Penguin looks insane too. So, I mean, Jesus Christ, that guy put on so much weight with the prosthetics. Oh my God. I think he's going to do an amazing job. I'm excited to see Paul Dano as the Riddler. I think that's a really cool casting choice. I think Paul Dano is awesome. He's very strange in movies and kooky. He always plays a very strange role, but he's a risk taker, and I really like that guy. I think he's awesome. I cannot wait to see this movie. I think it's going to be really, really something. And so, anyway, the part of this trailer that's the highlight is obviously when he's just beating the shit out of that thug. I mean, because it's what I loved about it is there was no cutting in there, right? So you knew it was all Pattinson. So he's just boom, boom. The guy's like, "Who are you?" And he just boom, 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 boom. Right? He takes him down, just beats the shit out of him. And then he gives him like two more, just boom, boom, and he's like, "I am vengeance," which I love the voice too because it's not like "I am vengeance," it's "I am vengeance." Kind of reminded me a little bit more Keaton's, Batman, and it's still very dark. And I like that he didn't say "I'm Batman." I love that he didn't say that. He just went with "I am vengeance." I thought that was pretty cool. If he just said Batman, we've heard that 100 times. So that's just one example of how this movie's going to be so different than any other Batman movie we're going to see. It kind of reminded me of Seven or Zodiac, kind of, some of those David Fincher mystery movies. Matt Reeves has said this is going to be, and that's the other thing that's very cool about this. It's going to be a standalone Batman feature. It's not going to be connected to the DCEU, right? It's going to be in its own universe, so it's going to be, we're going to have movies with Ben Affleck and Robert Pattinson at the same time, probably. So I think that's very cool. That said, guys, I know, and I'm not saying I'm necessarily rooting for this, and I know that they said it is going to be standalone, but they're going to say what they say. After seeing this trailer, I'm not saying I'm rooting for this necessarily to happen, but after seeing this trailer, and always depends on how grounded this movie stays, because it looks like a very grounded take on the Batman. After seeing this trailer, I will not be surprised if Joaquin Phoenix's Joker shows up. Excuse me. I will not be surprised. It looks like it could take place in that universe, but that is just a theory at this point. Anyway, I think that this movie is going to be really amazing, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And I'm telling you, Pattinson, to all the people that were hating, just watch this trailer. He looks like he's going to do an incredible job. Make fun of the look of the makeup at the end, which I think is dumb. Which, by the way, let me explain something. Batman is supposed to be Batman all the time, at least in his heart. Bruce Wayne is the identity. Bruce Wayne is the mask when you think about it, because Bruce Wayne is the guy that it's the persona he puts on around other people. But when Batman, at least this is how it's supposed to be in my mind, when Batman is talking to like Alfred or whatever, mask or no mask, he's always Batman in his soul and his heart. So it made sense to me that Robert Pattinson's version would have the makeup. Ben Affleck also understood that. He didn't do all the makeup, but he also understood that character would always in his heart be Batman. That's how I feel about that character anyway. So anybody who's making fun of the makeup thing, whatever. But I think it looks really cool. And outside of that, I don't think there's much you could really make fun of in the trailer. It just looks dark. It looks super cool. I like the detective angle. I think Colin Farrell's going to do a great job. Oh, yeah, Zoe Kravitz looks great as Catwoman. I like the approach to where she's just wearing the face mask, right? Instead of the, like, one of the sock beanie face mask type things like that the bank robbers wear, rather than the whole entire attire, right? I mean, obviously she's dressed in black, but there's not like this big leather thing. So I enjoyed that look for Catwoman, and I think that's a much more grounded take, and I think Paul Dano's going to do great as the Riddler in this film, which there was a lot of teasing of that as well. So, anyway, guys, what did you think of the Batman trailer? I think that brought the house down. To me, that's like the main event here. I mean, obviously the Snyder cut could, you could argue for that because we've just been waiting on it so long, and now that's coming and we have evidence of it. That was pretty cool, but I actually think that the Batman trailer was the big surprise, and it really took hopefully the world by storm at this point, because that thing looks amazing, and I hope everybody goes to see it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of DC Fandome and all the events, and thank you for that. I'm going to try to finally do the Kingsman review this Saturday. My plan is to have the Kingsman review up on Saturday because I do have some big plans for next week. Now, I'm thinking that the Mandalorian trailer will also come out this Saturday. So I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to open the Saturday show up talking about the Mandalorian trailer, right? And then moving into Kingsman review. And then I'll just clip out that Kingsman review and put it with the rest of the reviews, obviously, like I do. I could do that, or I could do a separate video just talking about the Mandalorian trailer and some other news maybe that can come up. It really just depends on how much news comes up from, between now and then. So, well, you know what, guys? Actually, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Okay. As much as we are looking forward to the Kingsman trailer, and I might still do it, I'm going to really try to have it out over the weekend. But I just remember that I am seeing New Mutants tomorrow. So I'm going to have to review that. So what I'll probably do is I'll do an episode on the Mandalorian trailer, assuming it comes out. And then I will do a New Mutants review. And I will hopefully do a separate one with the Kingsman review. The whole spoiler discussion that I've been wanting to do, which I want to get to this weekend as well. And then next weekend, if all goes well, or next week, I'm sorry, we will have maybe 3 shows. We will see. These are all kind of ideas that I'm just toying with, but either way, we will have a show on Saturday that will have the New Mutants review and hopefully talking about a Mandalorian Season 2 trailer, because by golly, when is that thing coming out already? Anyway, guys, just wanted to run that down with you, and I thank you guys for being patient with me and sticking around, and just know that I'm going to keep doing shows, and I thank you guys very much for being here every day. I've had a stressful past couple of weeks, too, which I'm not really going to get into, but just know that I'm still here for you, and I'm still here to talk about all this amazing stuff that's been coming out. So thank you guys for joining. My name's been Don Martino, as always. Please like this video if you liked it. Leave some comments in the feedback section. That helps a lot. And subscribe to the channel, most importantly, because I really want to make sure that I can keep doing shows consistently. And, hopefully we get some better equipment. We won't have all these technical difficulties, although technology is going to fail you regardless of how much money you spend, right? So there's that. But thank you guys for joining me. Please, I'll also be leaving my Twitter and Instagram in the description below, so be sure to follow me there. And real quick, don't forget that this show is now on Spotify, so be sure to listen there. Thank you guys for joining. I've been Don Martino, and I will see you guys Saturday. Thank you very much for joining. Bye-bye.